Hello, Nibber. This is Novels and Bits podcast, and I am your favorite host, Chizoba Katie. How are you doing? We have been doing This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, and this is going to be another installment of our story. I think this is installment 3. We had it on the last episode that OMG, Soledad discovered that she has an STD, confronted her husband Edward about it in prison, and yes, he has actually been cheating on her, and he's not even feeling remorse. Tells her that it's because she's no longer exciting, and there's just such a dread, there's just such an anger in her, and she now tells him that she would not have him have access to her daughters. Because not because she's trying to punish him, but because what kind of a person are you? Why should I let you access your girls that you don't even care about? And that she's going to take charge of her daughters. And then he's like, you cannot because you don't have money. You get. And she now turns and looks at him and says, watch me. As for a battle line has been drawn. That was where we stopped in the last episode. So continue from there. It's Yasmin and Hendrix who take charge of the girls that day. In their message thread, because the women, the Soledad and her friends, Yasmin and Hendrix, they all have this group chat. So in their message thread, they're concerned that what's happening? Because when she unexpectedly went to see Edward in prison, she asked her girlfriends, her friends, to watch over her daughters. But she can't just bring herself to admit her foolishness, knowing they warned her. As per her friends have never had a good feeling about Edward. She too has not had, but she was just ignoring it because how can my whole life be like? That means something is wrong with me if I made the wrong decision from the start. She didn't want to believe her perfect life was built on a bed of lies. She promises to talk to her friends about everything the next day. When lovers come and go, friends are the ones who remain. We are each other's constants. Getting into the house, Lottie came first in gym that day. There is the oldest daughter, Lupe, the middle daughter, Inez. Lottie is the last daughter, so that's last daughter. And she's the one who is actively in gymnastics. Whatever they did at the gym studio that day, she came first. As for Soledad's just thinking, line up our therapists now for the possible daddy issues this may give them, that this may give her girls. But I will not protect him when he didn't protect us. She's frank with her daughters that their dad wasn't set up and that he's not going to get out, that he's never coming home, that she's going to take care of them. So to that, what Inez says is, but you don't have a job. And it's like a knife to her heart. So Lupe, being the oldest daughter, the one who is more discerning, now tells her sister, we are her job. Lupe is just concerned, but she doesn't want her daughter to bear that burden at her age. So in the privacy of Soledad's bedroom, she brings down Mommy's chest. That is, that chest that contains her mom's journals, the matcha that's handed down in her family, and she cries. She remembers Mommy sharing that Bray cheated on her once. You accept a man cheating on you, she used to say. He's going to make himself at home. There is no three strikes. You use me, take me for granted, you prove you don't deserve to be in my life. That's what she remembers Mommy saying when her first husband betrayed her. So now it dawns on Soul. It's not that I failed Edward. Not that I wasn't sexy enough or didn't do enough. It's not my loose pussy, my almost 40 years old self. The fine lines creeping around my eyes. It's him. He's sorry, no character, vow breaking ass. Men married to the most gorgeous women in the world still cheat. Hello, Lemonade. I think that's a reference to Queen Bey, like Beyonce. So for this, a kind of fury overtakes Soledad. She takes a machete, the heirloom, and she slices through Edward's custom-made shoes, his designers, and it's not enough. She tiptoes past the living room so that she doesn't like alert her daughters to her rage, and she goes to the backyard into his man cave that he always liked staying there so much. As far I'm getting away from all the female hormones in the house, he would go back there. She goes to that his precious man cave. She machetes down his mahogany tables. She's sobbing and she's telling herself, why are you crying? Soledad, why are you crying? She's screaming. Tears are running in rivulets down her hot cheeks. She's like, you stupid, the stupid woman, for him, dry your tears, dry your tears. Then there is his most prized possession, Edward's most prized possession. It's a Celtics jersey. It's signed and it's even in glass. She shatters it, shatters windows, ruins everything. And then in the aftermath of everything she's ruined, she's sitting down. She now sees something silver flashing. The thing is attached to the collar of the jersey. Is a flash drive. Imagine. So in her race, she actually uncovers something. The next day, Judah finishes from a meeting where he threatens one of the directors whose name is actually Dick. And the guy is actually such a dick. So this director actually said something in that meeting that annoyed Judah. The director said that he can bet his paycheck that Soul is somehow involved in what Edward has done. So to this, Judah is like, okay, yeah, bet your paycheck. Let's follow through with on that vote. And if that's not true, your paycheck is going up. Do you get? It's actually the CEO who brings him up. As far your, we don't need to go in that deep. Now at his office, when Judah comes into his office, he's surprised. Soul is there. She's seated there at the reception, and his secretary is actually impatient. His secretary is Perry. She's a Muslim woman. So both of them being like Muslim and black pair in a company that is predominantly white and not that. Both of them has to be extra serious, extra has to maintain a professional image. Again, let's explain why the secretary looks like she's impatient with. So now this is from Judah's POV. I'm the only black director at Callahan, the first to ever serve as director of accounting. As one of the few other black employees on this floor, Perry is always careful to present herself professionally. Full face of makeup, stylish wardrobe with coordinating hijabs, and she's mad protective of Judah. So it's Judah who censors her with his eyes and brings Soul into his office. So she found something. So that's why she's here to negotiate. When she shows him the silver jump drive, he notices the white bandage on her other hand, and that's what he goes for first. She's amused. As per I'm showing you hard drive, shouldn't you grab it first? As per we have evidence to use it and catch this man. But he's more concerned that why do you have this injury on your hand? And why is there a bandage there? She just tells him, see, whatever it is, what I want to keep is my house, my account unfrozen, my cards reactivated, and for this company to leave me and my girls alone. She doesn't trust the FBI, she doesn't trust the Callahans, but she feels she can trust him, that he can advocate for her and her girls. So he checks the drive out, and it contains file names as numbers. File names are saved as numbers. The first file he opens is a series of figures he recognizes as account numbers and international transaction codes. Now, this flash drive is what they need to give Edward a long sentence and recover the money he's stolen. Now, for Soledad, finding this hard drive and the things on it is proof for her that the man should spend half her life with. That person doesn't exist. She also admits to Judah that she thinks Edward was working with Amber, and Amber has a cousin, Gerard, in IT. That time when she caught both of them during the Christmas party making out. So Amber might have actually been doing both men. Do you get? Which explains the XTDS. It all makes perfect sense. But Soul wants her drive back. She now tells him, you've seen what I have. Go to the board, the FBI, whoever, and get me what I need for my family. I'm not asking for much. Just that they leave us alone and confine their fight to Edward. Edward has proven he doesn't give a damn about Soul or his daughter's well-being. She's returning the same courtesy. Now, from Judah's perspective, as he's looking at Soul, he's thinking, despite the worry and exhaustion on her face and in her eyes, she glows. Triumph, confidence, wisdom. I don't know what added this layer to her beauty, but it's new. There's a lot she has lost over the last few days, not the least of which is her marriage. But there's something that she's found, without even knowing exactly what it is. I can see she plans to hold on to it. The following day, Soul has her friends over, enjoying the treats that Soul served them. They're also in on the story of her destroying Edward's things and finding the drive. She does regret that action, the whole destroying Edward's designer things. Maybe she could have sold those things, at least raise some extra money. Her friends are angrier about the XTD that she is. Hendrix, they have to hold her back from destroying Edward's golf clubs. The issue here is, how does she make money? How does Soul make money? So Hendrix just tells her, oh, you have a lot of income, honey. Hendrix gestures to the charcuterie board, her living room, everything you cook, the house you decorate, the life hacks for cleaning, and all you know about domestic world domination is your income waiting to happen. Yasmin now says, yeah, so leaks preserves from the corner of her mouth. Your business is right here under your roof. This life you've made for your family has been a labor of love. Why not start actually getting paid for it? Unlike her two friends who love being part of business, Soul has always wanted to stay home and point to her family. She tells them that in 1918 South Carolina, Greenville, it was illegal for black women to stay home. 1918 was when the First World War was rounding down, so their husbands were at war and they were sending back money, enough money. When these black women were like, oh, we don't want to be domestic help to the white women again. The white men were angry. They needed people to clean their house, look after their babies. So it was passed that law that no black women should stay at home, that they have to go out to work. Imagine that nonsense. Thank God for America today. Hendrix is still talking, and she's now telling Soledad, we've talked before about you becoming an influencer, a content creator. Brands reach out all the time asking my clients to do posts and ads on their socials. I might be able to connect you with a few for a little boost to begin. Given what I've seen, you could grow fast. Hendrix manages talent, including several popular reality TV housewives, so she knows what she speaks. Okay? Drinks and foods are low, so Soledad leaves to the kitchen to get more. And she sees Judah standing outside, as per, through the screen, and door, she sees him. So she lets him into the passage, that whole passage before the main house. So they're talking there when her friends show. And once they hear Judah saying that, oh yeah, this is Judah, they connect him to the accountant. And they now turn teasing, especially Hendrix, like, oh, the accountant, I didn't tell us it was fine. Judah takes it all in his stride, surprisingly. When they leave, he tells her he's glad that she has the kind of friend she has. So essentially, he's here to tell her the FBI will freeze your assets and CalPots when you go after your property when you turn over the drive, but you still have a long road ahead. She now tells him, long road ahead, huh? She spews this out laugh. The father of my children most likely going to praise it. Me having to figure out how I'll support them. Divorce. His gauge latches onto her face. Divorce? She now tells him, did you think I'd stay with Edward after all he's done? As soon as she can, they're over officially. They have to ignore the attraction between them. That's Edward and Soledad. After he leaves, she's thinking to herself, Calpot may not be taking my home, but if I don't find a way to pay for my mortgage, the bank will. Realistically, how long will her savings carry them? Maybe she should be frightened that for the first time everything will fall on her. But the prospect actually accelerates Soledad. Her whole life is now DIY, like do it yourself, or rather DIM, do it myself, because there's no one else who will. However, she asks Andres' help. Now, 8 months later, this is part 2 of the book. 8 months later, after Soledad has made that decision, she's separating from Edward. She's going to find a way to support herself and her girls. Soledad, she's having some much needed getaway time at Hendrix's place, who, by the way, is a poster girl of black rich girl aesthetic. Hendrix has money and she's single and she doesn't want man. So the dad has been doing a lot, but the expenses far outweigh the money coming in. So the thought of collectors calling, the tettering pile of bills stashed in my bedroom where the girls would see it, and my half-empty closet stocked only with the remnants of my wardrobe. I haven't co-signed yet. Co-signed this. Something is waiting to be sold, but you've put it in the hands of people who's going to sell it. So she's been selling her house furniture too. There's even a room empty in her house. Yes, Catherine Jobs has been coming in, interior design jobs for a few moms at Harrington. That's a private store our daughters go to. Sponsored ads on social media, more orders for her PS Preserves. Dayas is selling at Grit, like the restaurant Dayas co-owns with her husband, Josiah. There's even an offer to work at the restaurant with Yas, but she doesn't want to because she believes that what she's earning outside is equivalent to what she would earn at Grit full time and is also more flexible. So she also wants to be there for her girls, right? So her friends have been so helpful. Yas always brings groceries. Hendrik secretly pays Lottie's gymnastic fees, but so doesn't want to leave on her friend's generosity. She's so angry at Edward who left them in this situation. She could sell the house, but it's her dream home that she's dreamt her grandchildren is going to run through. So she goes to the bathroom, sees her defeated expression, and breaks down in tears. She actually traded her new Rover for a second-hand Honda, and she got judgmental stares the first time she's used it. She doesn't know if she can actually hold on to the house for long. She's already officially divorced from Edward too. After crying in the bathroom, when she has some semblance of control, she returns to where Hendrix is. Sol usually avoids her emails because of all the bills that comes in there. But she just goes through her emails and one particular email stands out. Hendrix wired her 10 grand. That is $10,000. Hendrix claims that she spent that amount on shoes and bags in the past month. Hendrix tells her, we're friends. I can't leave you and your girls hanging when I can help. So the secret tears that she was crying in the bathroom comes out again. So has super supportive friends. Now Lupe texts Sol. Apparently the video that Sol did earlier that day on vinaigrette dressing on salad is blowing up on social media. 2 million views. That's comfort after all the tears. Judah takes his sons for bi-monthly haircuts. Adam goes first. When the boys were much younger, Haircuts were hell. They were incredibly sensitive at their naps and around their ears. Judah could write a thesis specifically on haircut meltdowns. A mom mentioned Preach. Preach is the name of the current barber that knows how to handle the boys. So Tremaine, that's Judah's ex-wife, in the waiting room of the boys' speech therapist. So the rest is history. Preach is patient with the boys. He's not intimidated by the sensory issues that defeated so many barbers before him. Judah is there with his sons, right? For the haircuts. When Josiah is squeal, Yasmin's husband. He enters with Kasim. Kasim is Josiah's son. Kasim is younger than the boys, but they all attend Harrington. So Kasim knows the boys. There are not much blacks at Harrington. So the few blacks there are community that band together. The men are friendly. They're not close. They just know about each other. I mean, they live in the same community. They're both black men. Tremaine is more the parent rep at Harrington. So Judah is more focused on the more sensitive one, Aaron. White Tremaine is the one focused at the parent representative at Harrington, where Adam attends. Josiah has flyers he asked to keep there to be distributed. He asked Preach, could I keep it here? Yasmin actually asked him to do it for Soul. Soul is going to be doing this thing for Farashio. So the for Farashio. So Josiah explains what the Farashio thing is about. That people order the Farashio in a basket. That Soledad stuffs with some other false shit, and she delivers it to their front porch when it's ready. Aaron unfortunately gets stuck on shit. Like when Josiah said shit. Josiah apologizes that, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot that your sons are the way they are. In as much as Judah says it's fine, he knows he's stuck with it through the rest of the week and perhaps next week. Autism, haha. Judah has no idea what Farasher is, but claims he loves it. So if it has to do with supporting Soledad, he's in, okay? He's kept his distance from her this past 9 months, but just maybe the time is right. He's been keeping up with her progress online too. After the haircut, they're off to the shop that Aaron's been wanting to get to for the new cubes that arrived. It's something he's always absorbed in. That cubes thing that he shared with Soledad when they first met. Then when they arrive at the store, the new cubes are sold out. Aaron starts repeatedly saying cube, as though it's a password that's going to make it appear. Cube. The word. Now, let's describe this entire experience from Judah's perspective. The word fires from my son this time, loud enough to draw the attention of a few kids farther up the aisle. Aaron's fingers flex, coiling and uncoiling. Staccato breath stormed through his nostrils. He bounces on his toes a few times, gripping the device around his neck like it might anchor him. The situation escalates real quick because this to Aaron is the end of the world and he's losing it. This is the autistic version of panic attack. Judah used to care that people stared, whenever his sons have this meltdowns, but right now he's all about his son. He locks eyes with Aaron, rubs his back. His son, this is his son, and he wants to make things better. Unfortunately, there won't be a new supply of cubes until Thursday, and this is Saturday morning. Adam puts one of his stress balls in Aaron's hands. It helps. Aaron is calming down. With that, he starts apologizing that I'm sorry, Dad, for the same. Judah tells him you don't have to be. We all get anxious. Adam hugs both of them, and he's continually saying, you okay? You okay? Now, this is love. Honestly. Who cares? Who cares if people are watching your son that looks like he's a man, 15, melting down? He has autism, for God's sake. Give him a break. Now, all hands on deck situation. Everybody rallies around Soledad, her daughters, her friends, even Yasmin's daughter, Deja. Everybody is packaging the Ferrari baskets. More orders came in than Soledad anticipated. So, her daughters, her friends, Deja, Yasmin's daughter, everybody's helping. Her daughters are part of her brand because she basically does home life, right? But she actually does her best to keep from showing them too much on her feed and everything. They understand her content creating work is attached to her income, so they're helping out as much as they can. Lottie lives with Hendrix for Southside delivery. Deja, Yasmin, and Lupe live for West and East Side. Isol and Inez for the North Side. She actually deliberately did this because she wanted to spend some time with her middle daughter, because Inez has been quite distant from Soul since she's a daddy's girl, since the whole Edward thing happened. Inez perhaps even partly blames Soul for putting Edward in prison. Edward doesn't want to see any of his daughters while he's in prison. Her daughters know the crime that daddy committed. But Inez is resentful too that her game time has been cut short. Inez plays too much games. It affects her grades, so Soul stopped her. But Inez argues there are gamers making millions. She could be one of them. She doesn't need college. So Inez is now telling Soul, I mean, you went to an Ivy League school and a lot of good that did you. You got married, had kids, and stayed home. You could have skipped college with the same outcome. The major thing you accomplished at Cornell was meeting Dad. Oh my god, you know these are thinly veiled babs at her mother. How much of that insult is the insensitive oblivion that usually accompanies adolescence? And how much is her deliberately provoking and demeaning me? That's what Soul is thinking. She's now thinking to herself, motherhood truly is a thankless endeavor sometimes. We sacrifice everything for these people who never really understand what we've done for them. So this is a personal side note for me. Part of the reasons why I read in quotes books that are out of my age bracket is I'm trying to get adult perspectives, the thing they couldn't or wouldn't tell me otherwise. And these are some of them. Sometimes it looks as though you don't appreciate your mom's sacrifice because you brought a perspective that feels like it makes sense to you, but you actually don't know the things that they gave up. Because in Inez's mind, mommy, why are you stopping me from playing game? I could actually start making millions in that game. You that went to college, what did it could do for you? You just got married. Do you understand? And it's like, whoa, is that what you think I did with my life? Is that what you think that I just stayed at home? But this is why I love Soul. She's such a firm mom. In the car, Soledad doesn't let Inez escape without disrespect though. Ask her, have I purposely said words to you to hurt you? Never. She actually never has. Somehow the tension loosens up when they start delivering the baskets. They're down to the last basket. And Soledad takes it by herself, walks up the stairs to the door of the last house. It's a four-sided white brick traditional with navy blue plantation shutters. Based on the look of it, she's estimating it was originally built in the 1920s, maybe 1930s, with wraparound push and acts dark wood front door. No one answers the doorbell at first, but it swings open, and Soul is disoriented to see Judah's son standing there. She says Aaron, but it's not Aaron that answers the door, it's actually Adam. She remembers, oh, they're twins, that's why they look alike. Aaron shows, and Soul genuinely greets him with a smile. Aaron even remembers Soul's name, making her all the more delighted. Judah shows up, and when he asks his sons to go back in, Aaron says bye. Judah didn't order the basket out of pity. He genuinely believes she's good at what she does. He wanted a taste of what she can do. He thanks her for the tip about Amber and Gerald. He had actually overlooked them, and so brought his attention to it. While Judah found that he overlooked Amber and Gerald, the reason why he did not overlook Edward from the first meeting is Edward rubbed him the wrong way the moment they met. He just has this instinct about people. So to that, Soledad now blots out, what was your instinct about me? So to this, Judah tells her, oh, I liked you a lot right away. His voice dips to a low rumble. I still do. So she has this cool girl nervous behavior like, oh, he liked me right away. Oh, okay. But before he can fully get an invitation, as per to ask her out for coffee or something, Inez is calling from behind her and Soul backs away before Inez can see Judah's face. So Judah gets it as per, oh, her daughter. The whole thing is fresh for them because he just nods before she can even say anything and he goes back inside. So they don't have their time. They are not having their time, not yet. So people, we're still counting, we're still here and we're like, yo, people, please have your time already, okay? This is why I love this story. There's just no dull moments, right? So see you on Thursday for the next episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Bye.